This is Bonnie, my Bernedoodle puppy, and I'm Rachel Coverdale. I'm going to read the prologue and the first chapter of my book, The Boy Who Dared. If you're aged 8 to 12, you love dogs, and you like action adventure stories, this is the book for you. I looked at my watch. 2 o'clock in the morning. A low, menacing growl travelled under the barn door, climbed up my trembling body, and forced its way into my unwilling ears. We had imagined our camping holiday very differently. Being woken by birdsong, feeling the hard earth under the inadequate sleeping bags, and smelling breakfast being fried over the campfire. Yet here we were, trapped in a stinking barn with snarling, frothing dogs, an old rickety wooden door, all that was separating us from a brutal mauling. I looked towards Ahmed, slumped against the wall, gripping his injured arm. He had to have a plan. Of the three of us, he was always the one who could get us out of danger. The fear in his eyes reflected mine. It would seem trouble follows Greg wherever he goes. Chapter 1. A few days earlier. Ahmed is here, James, Dad shouted up the stairs. It was no surprise to see Ahmed arrive ahead of schedule. As I went out to meet him, it was all he could do to stop himself from skipping up our drive. He was grinning from ear to ear. Dad's lent me his emergency survival kit. I've got a Swiss Army knife, lighter, head torch, nylon rope, foil blanket, water filter and universal pen. I've put some of my own things in too. I shook my head and laughed as Ahmed emptied everything out to show me. And here's Greg too, said Dad. Good timekeepers. All right, said Greg. All right, we said. There's the illustration of all the exciting survival equipment that Ahmed's brought. Greg used to be horrible to me at school, but since the crazy adventures of last summer, we've all learnt to get along. I was pretty sure Greg was excited about the camping trip too, but he was way too cool to show it. Really, he's too cool to hang around with Ahmed and me. So he keeps it quiet that he comes and visits, and nobody knows he's going on holiday with us. He'd rather lie and say he'd been locked up by the police for a week. Actually, I'd rather have been locked up for a week than go on holiday if I'd known what was going to happen. But we had no idea what lay ahead when we were setting off that bright sunny morning. We pushed our backpacks into the last square inches of the boot, forcing the car to sink lower on its springs. Mum rushed down the drive. Here, love, take this extra duvet to place across your sleeping bags. Mum, we can't fit that in the car. You're putting too much in. There'll be no room left for us, and Dad will have to go on his own. Mum can be so embarrassing. She'd been keen for us all to go camping, but now the day was finally here, she was doing her usual fussing and trying to pack everything except the kitchen sink, as my grandma would say. Dad stepped in. Love, we've got a tent, sleeping bags, spare clothes, a camping stove and food supplies, plus a medical kit. If we need anything else, I have my wallet. Stop worrying. We'll see you in a few days when you and Rosie join us. I bet you'll find space for these though, she laughed, producing 4 Easter eggs from behind her back. Try to save them until Easter Sunday if you can. Thanks, love. Don't forget to keep checking the CCTV on that osprey nest and adding to my notes. She rolled her eyes but smiled. Rosie and I will keep watching. We might even see you, won't we? She said, turning to my baby sister and lifting her onto her hip. Greg jumped to the front seat before I could get to it. Dad! You can all take turns in the front. We might as well start with eldest first, so Greg for the first part of the journey, then Ahmed, then you. I knew that was fair, but I was still annoyed. Dad was always letting Greg get away with bad manners. Ahmed and I climbed in the back, and as soon as we set off, I could feel excitement bubbling inside me again. Now, they've set off on the trip, and at the moment they're very excited and positive. Unfortunately for them, when they get there, they're very quickly going to fall into great danger. The only way you can find out what happens next is to buy the book, which is available in the Book Dragon bookshop in Stockton on 6 West Row, Stockton-on-Tees, or from their website www.thebookdragon.co.uk. Thank you for listening. Bonnie, are you going to say goodbye? Good girl.